أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. Alhamdulillah, we are going through the journey of the Quran and we are almost in the middle part of Surah An Annam. Just a very quick review of this, the great surah of the Quran, the largest Makki surah. And we know that in this surah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam how to call the people of the Makkah, predominantly the Quraysh, to come to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Reminding them again and again that the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the abilities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how He created the world around us. So all these things are mentioned here, and constantly we have been seeing in the last few weeks that the ayahs are coming, starting with the word Qul, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, say this to the Quraysh, ask them, what they think about these things. Can they see these things around them? So all these things are mentioned here. Today the ayah numbers are a little bit more than the last week. Usually we do 10 ayahs, but today it's like around 12, 13 ayahs. But the talk will be inshallah shorter than that, because today we have a story of a great prophet, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So most of the ayah is related to that story. So let's begin inshallah ta'ala to finish the conversation that we started last 2 weeks actually. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling, bringing a conclusion of those content that saying, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's saying, Qul, tell them, shall we invoke others beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So ask them, do we worship anybody else than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that can do us neither good nor harm? So again, these are the questions to the idolaters obviously, but their idols cannot do any good or any harm to them. And shall we turn back on our heels after Allah has guided us? So once we have the guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how can we turn back? Like one whom the shaitan have made to go astray in the land in confusion. Meaning here that we talked about that shaitan is the one who confuses people and take them away from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we know that our Shaykh was reciting Surah An Annam. In Surah An Annam, Allah mentioned that those 5 great men, the name of those 5 great men, they were righteous people, but once they die, slowly shaitan, year after year, they put the ideas in the man, they are righteous people, and they say, okay, make a idols of them, and then they start worshipping them, and this is how the shirk starts. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning about also his companions calling to guidance, meaning here Allah talking about some of the friends, meaning some companions who's going to call you to the guidance. So these are the good people. So you have friends, that they are going to the astray because of shaitan is taking them astray, and you are calling them to the guidance. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning, even if you call them, if they are not sincere enough, then you cannot bring them to the guidance, because guidance is only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have commanded to submit to the Lord of Alameen, meaning we are commanded to submit to Rabbil Alameen, and that we're gonna put our submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the next thing is perform as-salah. So it's the same context, we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't listen to the shaitan, we perform as-salah, and to be obedient to Allah and fear Him, and it is He whom shall be gathered. So meaning it is whom that we shall be gathered on the day of judgment. It is He who has created the heavens and the earth in the truth, and here in truth means like bil haq. So sometimes bil haq, the literal meaning is truth, because the haq means truth, but haq has another meaning also, it's called purpose. So actually the meaning will be, the proper meaning will be like, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the heavens and the skies for a purpose. The opposite of the word haq is batil, and batil means invalid, false, and batil also means something that has no purpose. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the word haq is meaning that Allah has created these things for a purpose, and on the day of resurrection He will be said kun fayakun. Allah will say the kun fayakun, be, and His word is truth. His will be the dominion on the day when the trumpet will be blown. So this basically the description of the judgment day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that when the trumpet will be blown, no other king or no other people have the dominion, and even now actually there's no one else. Allah is the king, Allah is the Malik. But in the world there are people, he thinks that he owns the things. So Allah is saying on that day, no one even will think that when they're going to see that the trumpet has been blown, they have no power to see that. And all knower of unseen, and so Allah is an alimul ghaibi wa shahadati, and He is Azizul Hakim. He is the wise and the most all aware of everything. After this conversation about the the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how the idols cannot help people, like, to do good or harm, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turns to the story of Prophet Ibrahim. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, and this is, there are a lot of stories from the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam mentioned in the Quran in different surah. This is the part where we see that Ibrahim alayhi salam is talking to his nation, starting to talking to his father, and then how he's telling them that the sun and the moon, they are not the God. Now this story has two opinions actually. When you open up a story, the books like prophet story for the kids books, you will find this story also, that how Ibrahim alayhi salam came to know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they say that this ayah, Ibrahim alayhi salam looked at the stars at night and he said, okay, maybe this is my God. But then the stars settled down and he said, no, this cannot be God. Then he said the moon, and he said, okay, this is maybe the God, Haza Rabbi, this is my Lord probably. But then the moon also disappears, when the suns come down. Then he's talked about the sun. So the argument here is, a lot of scholars say actually this story is not how he became a Muslim or how he became a prophet, because we know from the total history of Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was one of the smartest person of the world. Allah has created him. He is a very, very, he's the father of all the prophets, and he is not. And if you think the logic that he's looking at the sun and the moon, he's not looking at the sun and the moon for the first time. He knows that the sun will go down. He knows the moon will go down, but still he's telling them. So this idea that he saw them, he think that they are God, and then he turned back, this is not the right way. And a lot of the scholars say they don't argue with this logic of tafsir. So what is the argument here then? What is the correct view? The correct view is that all the context of the ayah is that he's talking to the people of his nation who are idol worshipper. His father himself making the idols. So he has like a company of making the idols. And when you talk sometime with the people who are doing stupid things, you try to be one of them just to show them how stupid they are. So just like some people are talking, oh, the sun is the God. Okay, oh, the sun is the God, let's do something with the sun. If the God stays forever. And then when the sun goes out, you're pointing out to them, look, you said this is God, but it's not. So it's just like a sarcastic way, and that is the proper view of this whole story here. And also we know that in another story, another place, what did Ibrahim alayhi salam did? He broke all the idols except for the big one. And he put the X on the big one, and when they came up, he gave him the logic. So this is your big God, and he got the weapon in his hand. So probably this is the one who break this. So he has this kind of idea we can see from his story, and he can play people with this one. And he was very smart. Even the story where the two angels came to him to destroy the nation of the Lut, and when they didn't eat, right away he understands something going wrong. And then the Quran mentions that he got a bit conscious, he got a bit scared. Why they are not eating? They are traveler, and traveler should be hungry. So he is a very, very smart person, the Ibrahim alayhi salam. So this is not the correct view that he saw them and then they believe at that time. So he just demonstrate to the other people, he did this one. So the story goes very simple, as you all know, that Ibrahim alayhi salam said to his father Ajar. Here the Arabic word is Abba, but some scholars say Ajar probably not his father, maybe his uncle or something, because in Arabic language you can use the word Abba or Abi, like the father, to respect your close elderly people, like your grandparents or sometimes your elderly uncle. But that doesn't matter. So but most of the scholars say his father name is Ajar. And do you take the idol as Ilah? Verily I see you and your people in manifest error. So this is the starting of the conversation. So obviously he knows they're in error. Then he said, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, did we show Ibrahim the kingdom, the heavens of the earth, and be one of those who have faith in certainty? When the night covered him over the darkness, he saw a star. He said, this is my Lord. But when it said, he said, I like not those that set. So I don't like that something that sets down. Also when he saw the moon rising up, he said, this is my Lord. But when it said, he said, unless my Lord guides me, I shall surely be among the people went astray. And then the rest of the ayah, he said, when he saw the sun rising up, the same thing, he said, this is my Lord, this is greater. But when it is said, he said, O my people, I am indeed free from all that you join as partners. And here, people who know a little bit of Arabic language and the grammars, you see here over the first ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, actually, Ibrahim as-salam is talking to his people. and he's probably not talking to in Arabic because that was not the language at that time. Maybe which is similar to Arabic, okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is translating this whole conversation in Arabic in the Quran to remind us. And look how Allah saying there. Allah saying, Qala haza rabbi haza akbar. After the shams. But the shams, the words, the sun in Arabic language, if you know, there are few Arabic words. They are feminine, some of them masculine. In Arabic, there is no it. Like we say, it is a laptop. In Arabic, there's nothing like that. Either it's a he or a she. Like kitab, the book, is a he. Kalam is a he. But shams, sun, they think as a feminine. So it should be hazihi. Okay, but not haza. Okay? But because he's telling the people over there, his own people and his own language, and probably this haza doesn't even form, goes to the sun only. It's the everything around it. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put haza here. Because some people, if you look through the internet, there are people who try to find out errors in Quran, the non-Muslim, they say these are grammatical error and everything. So they point out one of these, but this is not the error. This is the way that Ibrahim Aslam talk and demonstrate to the other people. And also at the end, I'll say, verily I have turned my face towards him who has created the heavens and the earth, and I am in Hanifa, and I am not from al-mushrikun. Also here, the last ayah, wama ana min al-mushrikun. If you say no, lam yakun mushrikun, meaning I am not one of you. If you say wama ana, it means that I have never been mushrikun. And that also proves that he never think that star, sun and moon could be the God. That will be like a time that he thought like as a mushrik. He was never ever mushrikun. Even in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Ali Imran, Allah pointed out the ayah that Ibrahim was never among the mushrikun. And then he said his people disputed with him. He said, do you dispute with me concerning Allah while he has guided me, and I fear not those whom he associated me? Meaning he's telling to the people, how can you argue with me? I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's the one who guided, and you don't fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's why you're doing shirk. How do you want me to fear the gods around your one? And the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that it is those who believe and confuse not their belief with zulm. For them there is security and they are guided. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the conclusion saying, people who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and don't mix up zulm. Now zulm here, the word is not meaning torturing someone or something. Zulm here means shirk basically, because in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran in Surah Al-Luqman, inna shirka la zulmun azim. So zulm, shirk is one kind of zulm. So Allah saying, who has iman and they don't mix up their iman with the zulm of shirk, they will have the ultimate success and ultimate security. And then at the end Allah saying, these are the proof that which we gave to Ibrahim. So these are the way that I have told Ibrahim against his people. This is the logic Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with his people, and we raise whom we will. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise whoever he wants, and certainly your Lord and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always knowing and all wise. So inna rabbaka hakimun alimun. So inshallah ta'ala we'll finish this here. Next ayah number 84 to onwards, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will talk about some other prophets. And this is the place we'll talk about next week, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned almost 18 to 19 or maybe 20 prophets name all together in the Quran, and that's coming up in the next ayah. He talks about all the prophets. As you know, the Quran has mentioned 25 prophets, and most of them are mentioned in the next few ayat. So jazakallah khairan, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.